The evidence seems to indicate that you're watching Dolly Vision.
Topping up, Dolly Vision streaming real. True crime scene blast feel so unreal. YouTube madness like share, subscribe. Jack's on fire, burning the world's fire. Where's the baby? Missing shadows crawl. People whisper footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, best around town known. Dolly Vision headlines, King of Peace. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shouting, echoes in the night. Mock the truth while live on their light. Topping up, Dolly Vision streaming real. True crime scene blast feel so unreal. YouTube madness like share, subscribe. Jack's on fire, burning the world's fire. Where's the baby? Missing shadows crawl. People whisper footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, best around town known. Dolly Vision headlines, King of Peace. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shouting, echoes in the night. Mock the truth while live on their light.
What is up, YouTube? It is Dolly back in the house with you again today. And of course, today we're going over the search for Jack and Lilly Sullivan. Also, I got a question for you guys. Where is the Sebastian Rogers army now? Okay, it seems like a lot of these YouTube creators that were spreading awareness about Sebastian Rogers, they vanished like he did, okay? And I told you guys there's a lot of fake people out here. They're in things for clicks and views, and that's all that matters. When a new case comes, they forget all about everybody else. Sebastian Rogers, Summer Wells, Michael Monkey Vaughn, Corey Bixby. They just forget these kids even exist, and they go for the paycheck. And by now, you should know what YouTubers they are. Okay, it's easy to see, but I'm going to need you guys to leave your DNA on the like button, okay? Because Dolly hasn't given up, right? I don't give up on these kids. We stay to the very end of the cases. We don't leave these kids behind. I showed you that in Georgia when nobody else showed up in Georgia for court for Leilani to go to prison. Who was there? Dolly was. When they find out who done whatever to Sebastian Rogers, I will be there. And if I can get a passport, when they start kicking in doors and locking people up in the Jack and Lilly case, I may even be there. All right. Now leave your DNA on that like button. So just in case you go missing in the hills of Tennessee or in the woods of Nova Scotia, Dolly would do his best to come track your ass down. Okay. Also, if you're brand new and you're watching out there for the first time, thank you for becoming a member. I was about to say that. Sub up the channel, right? We are less than 150 people away from hitting 65,000 subscribers, okay? You guys are absolutely the best that are out there subbing up and ringing that bell for notifications. And of course, all of you, feel free to share my ugly face on any social media platform you choose. Now, I do want to give my warnings before I get into these cases because we're going to give the latest update in Jack and Lilly, and we want to touch on the Sebastian Rogers case, especially in the Sebastian Rogers case. We know a lot of people like to thank you for becoming a member. I can't see, you're kind of behind Sebastian's head there, but thank you for becoming a member. And a lot of people like to take out lawsuits and put people in jail and things like that. So we give these warnings just as a safety measure. Yes, we'll get into that. We're going to touch in on that in just a second. Dolly Vision's for entertainment purposes only. We talk news, rumors, gossip, speculation, theories mixed with a little bit of comedy. So don't take nothing here as a fact. It's just my opinion, completely satire, people. The callers' opinions today are theirs and theirs alone, not to reflect on my ugly ass. Everyone is innocent to proven guilty in a court of law, and I mean everyone. And the biggest thing of them all, don't try to be Dolly at home, okay? So Jack and Lilly, do you want to start there? Y'all want to start with Sebastian? Which one do y'all want to start with? Let's start with Sebastian. Since so many people have been forgetting this little boy even exists since Jack and Lilly have came out, okay? They forgot all about this big case that we've been covering. Everybody's been trying to find answers. You know, some people out there calling the family killers, Killer Katie, Edgar, y'all remember that. Where are them people at now, right? Where are those people at now? And, you know, in the beginning of this, we're going on like over a year and a half of Sebastian Rogers going missing. You know, I was one of the earlier people to get down there, me, JLR, Trev Lee, and we put a lot on this case. And believe it or not, this case blew up. Carol, thank you so much for your super sticker. Keeps Dolly alive. Get on the train, guys. You and Army Mom are the first two to board the Blessed Express this morning. Okay, it's morning for me. I ain't been up long. I took a nap. All right, you might be thinking, Dolly, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But on the West Coast, it's still early. Okay, it's still early. I'm on West Coast time. Really, I live on the East Coast, but, you know, I like West Coast time a little bit better. So it's still morning to me because I just got my lazy ass up. And, you know, I was been thinking about this since the other day that, you know, so many people have given up on Sebastian Rogers. And like I was saying, me, JLR, Trev Lee, we were like the first ones down there to take part in the searches. And, of course, the Raging Cajuns were down there at the time. And they didn't really want anybody searching. And, you know, we see that in Nova Scotia. They don't want but certified searchers out in those woods searching. They don't want nobody to get hurt. It's a common thing. So, you know, I've been trying to go ahead and looking for classes to get my certification. So when I do go out to these locations to search, that I am qualified to search with law enforcement, right? They do teach classes. You have to fly a few different places to take them. But I've been thinking about doing that this year and go ahead and getting my certification so Dolly can actually take part in those searches. Now, when I do that, I won't be able to stream them when I'm working with the police or, you know, search agencies because they don't want you YouTubing the stuff, right? But everything else I would be able to broadcast, just not that the physical searches themselves. So, you know, I told everybody in the beginning of this, I was like, you know, Sebastian can so easily be forgotten. You know, as soon as a new case comes that's bigger than his, right? Which is, you know, the 2 kids, right? Some people said, I even seen it in the chat room, there's 2 cash cows from Nova Scotia. And it's horrible to hear that, but to some of these YouTubers out here, that is exactly what it is. Okay, they wasn't even talking about it till everybody else started talking about it, and then they see other channels getting views on it, and they're like, ooh, I want views, and then they start talking about it. You know, just in the beginning of this, there was just a few of us talking about it here online, and all them tragedy leeches out there have leached onto it, right? But listen, always look for the good and the bad. I am glad that they're talking about it because it does spread awareness. They do have viewers and people are seeing it. They are, you know, are they doing it for the right reasons? Hell no. Okay. They don't stick around. They don't. Once the next big thing comes, they're up and they're gone. I told Seth this. I told Seth Rogers, how many of y'all remember me telling Seth Rogers? I said, in the end, Seth, it'll be me and you. And all you got to do is hit me up and I will come down there and help you look for that boy. Because I knew this type of stuff was going to happen. I knew exactly what was going to happen. I tried to, Seth didn't know. He thought all these people were his friends and they loved him and they cared about him. They didn't give two shits. That's why that's why I don't try to become friends with the parents of these kids, right? Because then you're using them, okay? You're basically, some of these people are just absolutely using them, picking sides, doing these things, and then when another case comes, they're gone. And who's sitting there sad, right? Who's sitting there sad? Seth, right? His own team now is saying Sebastian's chopped up, thrown all over the place, scattered. Sebastian Rogers, right? He's scattered. He's dead. That is horrible, right? Especially when you're a father and you believe your child is out there somewhere alive and you want your child brought home safely. And then everybody's like, your kid's dead, moves on. If that ain't the most terrible thing, right? But this happens a lot. This happened in the Summer Wells case. Little Summer Wells, I'd say this so much. Little Summer Wells is the reason that I am here. Okay. I wasn't into true crime, but I wasn't a true crime YouTube creator. I was talking about Gabby Petito because I was building a van to travel across the country because that guy, for people that have been around for years with me, I used not to fly. Right? I was like, oh, hell no, I ain't getting on no airplane. I ain't dying. Well, now I fly. These days, that's how I'm able to get to most of the cases so quickly is I jump on an airplane, just like I did in the Sebastian Rogers case, and I fly down there. I don't know how I can be on an airplane and JLR still beat me there every time. I just don't know how he does. He must drive fast as shit in that car he got. So I don't know, what's he drive, a Lamborghini? I don't know, but he gets there pretty quick. So, which is good because now I can kind of get to the cases pretty fast by plane. Before I would have to drive. It'd take me weeks to get there. So it's sad. It's a sad situation. Like I said, Summer Wells, I was covering Gabby Petito. A person by the name of Stony Stone came in here and said, Dolly, have you ever heard of Summer Wells? And at that point, I had never heard of Little Summer Wells, which we know Summer Wells is one of the biggest cases in true crime here on the internet for a long time. And I had never heard of it. He was like, well, you're going to have to check it out, man. It's the craziest story I've ever heard. And I know I've shared this story a lot, but there's new viewers. We've gained at least 3,000 in the last couple of weeks. So maybe they don't know the story. So I'm just kind of repeating it. And I didn't instantly go check out Summer Wells because I was more entertainment news. Right now I've been covering the P. Diddy case, right? And one night I clicked on to the Summer Wells stuff, and the story just absolutely broke my heart. And then I got so sucked into a rabbit hole of the Summer Wells disappearance that I was thinking to myself, what could I do to help? I'm going to go look for this little girl. And I ended up on 110 Ben Hill Road in Hawkinsville, Tennessee. Never been to Tennessee in my whole damn life, right? And so I go down there and I start looking. But that story right there, I think, changed my life completely. It changed a lot of the direction I was going, what I was doing. And then I thought, well, what can I do to bring awareness and help these kids? I completely changed my channel to a true crime channel. Started searching for missing kids. Started covering these cases, right? So to me, I haven't forgotten Summer Wells. I still, when I get free time in Tennessee, I still continue to search for Summer Wells. We got a lot of people missing from Tennessee. We got Sebastian Rogers. We got Summer Wells. We got Layla Santinella. You got Holly Snap. I mean, and the list just continues of people that are going missing from that area. But the saddest thing about this is is that's what got me into true crime. And then of course, all these stories have happened, and there's so many more stories that I've covered since all of this of missing people cases. But Seth believed these people were here to really help him. All right. Now, I don't agree with all the people Seth has had around him. And a lot of people think I don't like Seth. Okay. Which is totally untrue. I like Seth. Okay. I like Seth. I just didn't like the people that were surrounding Seth. And I tried to warn them in the beginning, hey, these ain't good people. These are people that are going to leave you behind. Like, they may be here with you now while the pot is hot, but when that pot starts to cool off, you're going to see people jumping ship left and right, and Seth didn't know. He truly didn't know. Thank you for watching on Facebook, Jessica. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, we're broadcasting to Facebook. Where else? To Jams TV, my personal Facebook, Jimmy Jams TV, and also the Dolly Vision Facebook page. Okay, there's a group and a page. So if you're in any one of those, thank you guys for joining up, being a member, all that good stuff. So Seth didn't know, and when you're going through these things and people are promising you the world and you think they're going to help you, and now I think Seth is seeing that, damn, Dolly was right. He knew what was coming. Okay. And it sucks to be like, hey, I told you so, right? I told you so, but you didn't want to listen. But I understand it. I understand it because you had so many people that didn't have the best intentions around you in your ear telling you things, right? And we see how the Summer Wells case worked out. Now, a lot of us are suspicious of Katie. Okay. A lot of people are suspicious of Chris and Katie. I'm more suspicious of Katie. Okay. Because Katie was there at the home with Sebastian Rogers the night that he went missing. And this is crazy because, you would think if the kids are left home, something bad could happen to them. But there's a lot of kids that are there with people when they go missing. Like Sebastian Rogers, his mother was home with him when he went missing. Jack and Lily, their mother, stepdad, step grandma, step uncle, they were all home when they went missing. Summer Wells, Grandis was there, the grandma, the mother, okay, Candace Bly, all the kids, the brothers, they were all on the property when Summer goes missing. Now, how does a kid go missing with all those people around? And when it happens, of course, it's suspicious, right? Because you would think, how do was you not watching the kid? How could this happen? Especially in these places that are in the middle of nowhere. Now, Sebastian Rogers, not so much in the middle of nowhere. Okay. It's a pretty busy area, big neighborhood. Houses start at like 700,000. But I'm talking your rural areas in Nova Scotia, and I'm talking about your Ben Hill roads that are in the holler of Tennessee, where there's nothing around but, trees and damn mobile homes, right? And little tiny shack houses and barns. And is that where the kidnappers are at, right? Because, this is what a lot of people are accusing, that these kids have been abducted. All of them. Okay, all these kids allegedly abducted. Now, listen, kidnapping in our country, it's a big deal. There are kidnappers. There are people that get, you have your cases like Elizabeth Smart, where somebody came in the home while she was there and kidnapped her. You have situations like John Benet Ramsey, where somebody came into the house and killed that child. Now, a lot of people believe that's a family member, that there wasn't an outsider, but I truly believe, and this is a whole different topic, that John Benet Ramsey was an outside killer. As strange as it made it look towards the mother and the brother, I still think there was an outside force involved in that killing, because still to this day, you see the Ramsey family still trying to get answers for their kid. Now, if he was a killer, you would want all that stuff to go away. Like, if Katie did do something, let's just say in the Sebastian Rogers case, if she did do something, she don't want this to continue, right? And she's been here lately. She has been giving interviews. Well, on the 1 year kind of anniversary of Sebastian going missing, she kind of spoke out to the media outlets. But you would want this to go away, right? You would want YouTubers to move on and stop putting the pressure. Of course, Hendersonville, Tennessee police, they definitely want the internet stuff to stop because they don't have a clue to what happened. You know, so many people have been saying that, you know, Chris and Katie were going to jail. And I was like, I don't think they're going to jail. I think if they were going to go to jail, they would have already been in jail by now, unless, you know, somebody finds something later on, maybe a hunter, hiker, or something like that. Sad to say, because, you know, I'm one of those people that I believe something tragic has happened to Sebastian Rogers. Now, I don't think he was chopped up, dismembered, and thrown along the side of the road like trash, but I think something bad has happened to him. I don't know exactly what that is. Anything you would say is pretty much speculating because we don't know because we weren't there. But I do believe something bad has happened to him. And when somebody finds him, hopefully there's something there that's of evidential value that they can use to lead to whoever may have done this or whatever happened to Sebastian to bring some clues up. But right now, the police, they openly told us, hey, we don't have anything. We don't have any clues. Matter of fact, there ain't very even many tips that are coming in to the tip line for Sebastian Rogers. Okay, there just ain't much happening in the case, right? We're still in the same place we was pretty much back in February of last year. You know, we have the lights video, but that's basically a Bigfoot video. We had a lot of people making up things in the case, right? We seen that when Nancy Grace had to pull her show down because a dude, it was like a dead corpse with a lot of makeup, lied about who he was, lied about how he obtained these images, and, you know, and then they pulled down the Nancy show. So we had a lot of people lying in the case. We had a lot of people making up shit in the case. And now these people are like, I forgot. Don't even remember who Sebastian Rogers is. They moved on quick as shit. And that's my point. You know, the point today is, where are all these people at? You know, and the same thing in the Summer Wells thing. When I came in to the true crime, everybody was making videos on Summer Wells, right? Making videos on Summer Wells, or maybe occasionally bring her up. Don't forget the child, right? How easily these people just completely forget, don't mention them, don't say nothing about it, like it don't matter anymore. All these kids' life matters, right? It don't matter if you've been missing 3 weeks like Jack and Lily, or if you've been missing 1.5 years like Sebastian Rogers, or you've been missing 3 years like going on 4 Summer Wells or Michael Monkey Vaughn, or your body's missing like Corey Bixby, right? All these kids matter. There's no life out here greater than another. Okay, my life matters, your life matters, these kids' life matters. You know, everybody is the same here, right? We got to treat everybody the same. And I hate to be like, I told you so, right? Especially because I know his family and their whole team watches Dolly. Okay, listen, we know they watch, right? We know Katie watches, we know Chris watches, we know Seth watches, we know Tony watches, we know all their whole team watches to see what I say, right? Maddie Soto, definitely can't forget Maddie Soto. I will be down there in Florida, right, for the case, to cover the case, the court case. And because I don't leave any of these cases behind, okay? I stay to the end of all of it. I'll be here to the end of Sebastian. I'll be here to the end of Summer Wells. I will be here to the end of Michael Monkey Vaughn. And like I said, if something happens and breaks in that, I'm flying my ass out to Idaho on that one. I want some real justice. Yes, yeah, he's like Corey Feldman. Okay, it's like, okay, you've been typecasted. Once we can't use you anymore, you know, you're gone. right? So yes, I agree. That is a Jetty. That is absolutely true. You know, and we're going to make sure that still don't happen, right? We're going to make sure here that that don't happen. So everybody didn't forget Sebastian Rogers. There's just some people out here that money is more important, right? They don't have any morals or values. Some of them ain't even parents, right? Like there ain't no parent out here that would want their kid treated like that, right? People made all kinds of money off of them, but then when the next big thing comes, they're like, oh, fuck them. No, that ain't how it operates. We stay to stay. We want justice for Sebastian Rogers. We want Harmony Montgomery. Yeah, you know, I actually was late into the Harmony Montgomery case, but I have stayed to the end as far as the court, you know, going to cover in the court, flying my ass up in New Hampshire. Um, but I still haven't, you know, we want answers for that child still. Harmony Montgomery has not been recovered. Now, it may be a situation of where she can't be recovered, right? And if that is the situation, that is super sad. And Adam Montgomery is the biggest piece of shit on the planet. I hope every day that he sits in prison, it is the worst day of his life. Okay. And I still have a hard time believing that Kayla is walking the streets of New Hampshire, right? Blows my mind when people make deals with the devil, just like Jen Soto, right? Jen Soto, even to the Kansas City Three. You know, we try to stick around to the end of every case we cover. We don't cover it just to go, okay, well, here's another big case. Now, we do cover the big cases when they come in because, of course, if they're missing kids and there's believed to be some foul play in it, Dolly's going to cover it, right? And I cover just some things that I'm interested in, like the Karen Reed case. That really ain't got nothing to do with missing kids, right? But me and PJ have been into the Karen Reed stuff. Well, it was mostly PJ, but she kind of got me into it. So like daily we talk about it. So we kind of tend to watch the Karen Reed situation, which has nothing to do with missing kids, but we still cover it. So everything I cover ain't exactly. Some things it's just I'm interested in. And the rest of it's let's bring answers to these missing kids. Let's use the platform for something good, right? And I figured that's what I could do. What, almost 4 years ago? We've been here almost with you guys 4 years in true crime and have covered so many cases, right? So many cases. Now there may be some cases that we don't follow all the way to the end, like, but pretty damn close, right? We don't usually forget people, especially the missing kids. Now there's cases where kids are maybe deceased and the mom goes to jail and then we kind of move on from there. But there ain't no kids that go missing that we cover that we don't continue to roll back on and cover. I see Free Karen Reed. Okay. You know, today the brain doctor came out and said that John O'Keefe was not beat up. Okay. He was not beat up. That his injuries are consistent with being struck by something at high speeds. Okay. I just want to let you know that said Free Karen Reed in here. That John, there goes the conspiracy that John was beat up inside the house. That didn't happen. Okay. Not according to the brain doctor. It didn't. And Karen Reed looks like she's factually guilty. I just, listen, we can have a difference in opinion there, right? We can have a difference in opinion, but that's what it looks like to me. So I know it's bad for Seth, right? Seth right now is probably feeling a little betrayed by some of these YouTube creators that moved on so quickly and that now he's not that important. He was pretty much the big deal, the star of the show, right? And now he goes from nobody gives a shit about you, right? Nobody cares about you, right? And that's different because, you know, They treated him like when he came in the room, it was a lot of let's kiss Seth's ass, and now it's moved on from that, right? Like we don't hear nothing, like even from their side, their team, their army, the Sebastian army, right? Me, I've always been Team Sebastian. It's not my job. I thought Karen Reed guilty, but I don't know. The autopsy pics of his arm is really suspicious. Not enough damage on the SUV for that. The Talking Dead. I'm sorry to get squirreled off track. Listen, I've been attacked by 2 German Shepherds myself. Me, this guy right here. Them are not dog bites. Dogs have bottom teeth. Just like you have bottom teeth, if you bite somebody, you leave a top impression and you leave a bottom impression. Okay, unless a dog don't have a bottom jaw, okay, and it's just top teeth, which I ain't seen too many of those running around. Okay, them are not dog bites on John O'Keefe's arm. All right, if I believe they're more consistent with being struck by a car and him hitting the gravel and the rocks and things like that, then he landed in some snow, ice. You gotta remember, Boston is cold as shit. All right. I've been there during a blizzard. And for us people in the South, like a blizzard to us is like 2 inches of snow. It's a blizzard. But up there, snow falls by the feet. Okay. It falls hard. It falls fast. And it's a new level of damn cold. The ground is hard as a concrete. Okay. The grass is hard as a rock. So I believe his injuries are consistent with being struck by a vehicle, just like the brain doctor, just like the autopsy, just like the police are saying. But that's just my thought, right? Karen Reed herself, she said, I did it. I could have hit him. All the data in the cars match up, even with the drifting of time. Okay, they had to line it up. But they always fix the clocks here because GPS in space time is different than Earth time. Have you ever heard that? And that they constantly have to adjust the clocks for that. True. You can look it up, right? And listen, I think Hank is doing a good job on the case. And we'll see. If I don't really have a dog in the fight, if she walks, to me it's a rich woman that bought her freedom that I can't relate to. I don't see how anybody relates to this woman. She's not like us. Okay. She's out there wearing $3,000 outfits. She's saying she's not paying her lawyer, but she's taking donations at upwards in $1 million, selling the story to make money. Never one time said she loved John O'Keefe. She was trying to cheat on him. She's banging her attorney. Like, I don't get it. I'll probably never get it. Nothing personal against you, Karen Reed supporters. I just don't understand what y'all see in this woman. Like, I can understand if she was a soccer mom and she had did something horrible. Yeah, she's staying in 5-star hotels, eating at 5-star restaurants, wearing $3,000 outfits, and got a damn GoFundMe. Okay, like, lady, fund me. I don't see it. I just don't get it, guys. And then she swears she's not paying her attorneys. Every time you see her, her attorney got her hand on her titty or hand on her ass. They're out buying. The crazy thing is there's images surfacing of her now out buying vodka, Grey Goose, right? Or is that tequila? I ain't a big drinker, right? But I know it's Grey Goose. They were buying Grey Goose. I think that's tequila. So they out getting drunk while she's in court for DUI, for running over a man, with a married man. It blows my mind that people are supporting this lady the way that they are. It's vodka. Okay. I ain't a big drinker. I just know they're out buying liquor. Okay. on, you know, why she's in court for DUI. And this is a lady that's supposed to have a brain tumor, Crohn's disease, MS. I mean, she got every ailment you can humanly have. Why she's out? Basically, she's alcoholic. Okay, just she's alcoholic. And you know, I remember I grew up in the age of MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. Okay, apparently that changed. Now it's Mothers for Drunk Drivers. It's what it seems like. It's like we got these older women out here that are supporting such a horrible, terrible person. I it I just shake my head at it. I'm like, listen, you have the right to support whoever you want in this planet. I'm sure there's good people out here that really need the support and help. If you need donations, you can afford to drink in bars. How can you afford to drink in bars? Exactly. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get this too squirreled off of, you know, we are a true crime channel and it is true crime. And, you know, we talk open discussion here. So what, you know, whatever you guys want to bring up, but, you know, I actually brought it up because I said, you know, there's things we cover that we're just interested in. So we cover it. And to me, I'm interested in it because I can't believe what is happening. Right. And here's the thing about Karen Reed supporters. You guys can take the most damaging thing. They can go into court and Karen Reed, they can show videos of Karen Reed saying, I hit him. I pulled a piece of glass out of his face. The car can tell you that she ran him over. They can prove by his phone that he never went in the house. They can prove what time his phone. And then they'll come back and be like, we slayed in court today. We ruled. We won that. It's over with. And I'd be seeing these posts and I'm thinking, are y'all watching a different trial than I'm watching? Are y'all watching something different? Right. And then when the pictures came out of, you know, Alan Jackson got her hands on her titties, people were like, oh, Dolly's lying. Right. Because I was one of those people that put those pictures out early. As soon as I seen that picture leaked, I put it out. And they were saying I was lying. Now they say the picture's AI generated. Okay. That the picture's AI generated. You really can't make this stuff up. Okay. You really cannot make this stuff up. But the important message in this video today is none of these kids needed to be left behind. And as a true crime community, you see who really meant what they were saying and who didn't really give a damn, right? People show their true colors. They just move on and they leave kids behind. You know, look, I ain't going to say summer is left behind, right? There's still creators that make videos every day about Summer Wells. Thank you guys, right? Thank you to the guys and girls that are still making videos on Sebastian Rogers. I seen Silver on the Scene came out with one. He ain't forgot about Sebastian Rogers. Some people are legit, you know, and then some people are just. And let me say this. It seems like the people that have the most money, right? Because there's a corpse up here that wears a lot of makeup. You know, drives real fancy cars, lives in a really big house, has a pet monkey, and got plenty of money, but yet is in it for the money. Like sometimes it's the people with the money that are the most fucking greediest people on the planet, right? And when God strikes you down with a bolt of lightning that's fucking hot as the gates of hell, I ain't gonna feel bad for you. Okay, I just ain't gonna feel bad to you. People will sell their morals and their values for a fucking little bitty YouTube check. Okay, it blows my mind. Now, if I stopped YouTubing today, I would be okay. Okay, I would make it. I probably, I wouldn't have to, the best, but I would make it. I would go out, grab me a full-time job, and keep moving forward, right? Like I said, and then I would still do things to try to help people. These people, like I said, when I see people that got everything, and then they juice people like Karen Reed, like some of these channels I'm talking about, that these people are wealthy as hell, but when they get a donation, They, oh, I love you so much. Thank you. Oh my God. Right? It's fucking so fake to me that it blows my mind. That's why, I say these things, and that's why I don't have a lot of YouTube friends, because they're like, fuck Dolly, right? I don't blame him. I don't blame him too, right? Because we're doing things for different reasons. We're doing things for totally different reasons. We have different. If you did this off my kid, because I am a father, right? I'm a father. My daughter's grown, right? For you guys that don't know, she's 25, but she's still my baby. If you did this off the backs of my daughter, I would come track your ass down. Okay? I would come track you down and go to jail. I just would, right? Especially when I seen it was just all show. And so when you go into these YouTube creators' rooms, let them know. Say, hey man, well, I thought you cared so much about this person, or I thought you was part of this army that you claim to be a part. Now listen, you never seen me claim to be part of no armies, right? But here we are talking about it. Here we are, and I have plans of going back to Tennessee to look for Sebastian Rogers. I try to keep the pressure going and the story alive as much as I can. But look, always L8, that is the shittiest human being on the planet. Okay? So we would just have to agree to disagree. That is the fakest, lyingest piece of shit dude that is on the internet. And you can go tell him I said it. Okay? Be like, Dolly said you a lying piece of shit. He knows he's a lying piece of shit. He don't give two damns about kids. Okay? He lies about his name, who he's married to. The dude is a fucking liar, and he looks like a corpse with makeup. Okay? Just to throw that out there. These are the type of people that the true crime community needs to do something about. Facts. You may not like what I say, but it is absolutely 100% without a doubt the absolute truth. Okay? I just have to tell you, I ain't here to pick on people or to be mean about people, but I'm going to tell you how it is. And this is a prime example of that. It's a prime example of that. I've watched that man show up at the Quentin Simon house, take photos, and fucking leave. In it for just a photo op. He did the same thing in Tennessee. He did the same thing with Sebastian Rogers. These people are photo op people. You think I've ever been in the woods and looked over and Justin be beside me? Ever? Ever? Never. You think he's going to fuck his makeup up? Right? He is a fake. I mean, he is a clown. He looks like a clown, and he's a fake ass person. But enjoy watching him. I don't give a damn. I ain't gotta watch him. But no, when you come in here, I'm gonna let you know who these people are. That's who it is. Thank you. The people that are really out there fighting and giving voice to the voiceless, thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Okay. Thank you. You won't hear me say nothing bad about you. I can guarantee you that, right? We need more people that do these things, that get out there and are boots on the ground and actually out there fighting for these kids, not somebody that has a fucking lives in a mansion and like, let me grift. Okay. When you don't even need it, I can understand if you were broke, right? And needed to eat, like Dolly need to eat. And a lot of that is joke, but it's fake. I've seen this fake ass dude. Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on that guy. Right. I don't want to get too squirreled off. People, see, that's all it takes to get me off in another direction. And, I could joke the blood out that guy for days and days in, and like, because I know a lot of you guys out here, you don't know, right? Have you ever been around that dude in person? Have you? Well, let me tell you, I have multiple times. I've seen what he's about behind the scenes, on the scenes. A lot of you guys haven't. So if we're going to discuss something and you don't know the man in person, it's hard to it's hard it's hard to discuss those things with you, right? Uh he was at one point he was Molly's purse. Okay. He was Molly's little bitch. That's what it was. True story. Anybody that's been around the YouTube streets know this. And even his own chick has called him out and said he's the fakest piece of shit ever. And that ain't just coming from me. All right. So do you think he really cares about Sebastian Rogers? Right? Do you? I don't. I don't even think he closely cares about any of these kids. None of them. Right? Whereas I came into this stuff because it broke my heart. This dude came in here for a paycheck. And it's clear as fucking day. He'll cry tonight. Thank you, baby. Get the hell out of here with that shit. Nobody, if you're buying that, I got a bridge for sale in Brooklyn. Okay. I'll sell you a bridge. You need to buy a bridge? I got one for you. Okay. It's listen, guys, let's stick to the real. There's some good people on YouTube that are out here fighting for the right causes. And hopefully people see that. And like I said, if you see right now what's going on with how quickly people are forgetting about this young man that let's say 2 weeks ago, he was the whole show. Okay. The whole show for a lot of these creators, the whole show. A lot of these people ain't never get out there and look. They never got out in them woods of Tennessee sweating, getting bit by mosquitoes. Right. I know who the real ones are and who the fake ones are. And, you know, I just try to spread that awareness through the true crime community. And I think a lot of the true crime community is realizing that, okay, who is real and who is fake. You know, when you see YouTubers kissing each other's asses, that might be your first red. You know how we talk about red flags here? That may be your first red flag. Okay. There's one thing I am proud of on YouTube. I might not have very many YouTube friends. I do have some YouTube acquaintances, right? Is I don't kiss anybody's ass. Name somebody. Name somebody that Dolly has rode off of. Have I found a bigger YouTuber and sat on their lap and try to steal their viewers? You notice how all people, Dolly don't go on panels. I don't do all that shit. I don't do it. I stick to what I do because it's real. All these other people, it is just, listen, I want subscribers. Okay. I want people that's watching to sub up, but I want you to sub up because you enjoy the content and really like what we do here. And people give you honesty, right? Like I can't think of a day I just come up here to lie to people or any of that, right? Like, have you ever heard Dolly say I'm married to a doctor? I got better than that. I'm with PJ. Okay. It's better to be married to a doctor. Okay. So, but when you start lying and about who you are, your name, who you're with, how many kids you got, it's just different things and then you start saying prayers. This gets me. Like, you are a piece of shit human being. Piece of shit. This is the biggest piece of shit you can find. Like if a turd had a turd, you are the biggest piece of shit in the world. And then you post a prayer. Okay. When's the last time y'all seen Dolly post a prayer? Right. I believe in Jesus. I believe Jesus is my Lord and Savior. I believe I'm a decent human being. I didn't say great. I said decent. When have y'all seen that? Right? When you start seeing people, it's fucking fake. Okay. Jesus is going to come down and strike your ass down. You dirty bastard. Okay. You dirty piece of, I hate it. Look at what T-Rev, looking like T-Rev, right? T-Rev. You got your damn monkey boys it's fake. And if you can't see it's fake, and then everybody's like, oh my God, he's such a God-fearing man, right? It is fake. It is so fake. And I understand that y'all women stick together, and he's close to that. You know what I'm saying? And he's close to that. I get it. I understand it. You know what I'm saying? You can get makeup tips. Dolly don't give you makeup tips. I get it. I get it. I understand it. Thank you, babe. Thank you. But just realize what's real and what ain't. What's entertainment and what is the real deal. I know most people that sub me up here is because I'm a real dude. I'm relatable. I'm just like you. No different, right? No different. Anybody that's met me, right? And you can go from Doug to all the people all over Tennessee and everybody that's met me, even people here in Virginia, they'll tell you Dolly is exactly the same. Exactly. No different here than I am there. When these cameras turn off, I am absolutely the same person. Maybe not as animated. Okay. I'm probably a little bit more quieter because I done talked for 3 hours and I'm fucking tired of talking by then, right? I'm a little less animated, but exactly the same guy. Okay. So there's no fake shit here, and I'm a person that believes that real recognizes real. Now, some people believe anything they see on YouTube or anything they hear, and that's perfectly fine. I'm not here for those people. I'm here for the real people. That's it. And as long as you a real person, that's all that really matters. When people click on that sub button, I want them to be real. I want them to have the same passion, want the same things that I want, and that's to bring justice to these people. Anything else is go sub somebody else. There's a billion people to watch on YouTube. Okay. There's a billion people. I'm going to make it to my goals anyway because of passion and hard work and dedication to what I do. So I know at some point I'll be to where I'm trying to get. And in the beginning, my goal was to help one family. If I could help one family, I've done my job here. And I've done that times 100. Okay. So, thank you, Helena. Thank you. Thank you for your donation too. Thank you. And Cable and Short Legs. You guys are absolutely awesome. Thank you for sticking and rocking with me. And that's what I mean about real recognizes real. And I guess, I don't really like to pick on people. It ain't my goal. If I wanted to pick on people, I could easily become like a Krama channel and just blast so many people, right? But there's a community for that, and more power to them communities that just sit around and talk about each other every day. Okay. But if you're a true crimer, then you're a true crimer. The problem I have, it ain't with the Krama channels, right? That's what they do. They here to fight and talk shit about each other. That's their jobs. That's what their community is watching them for. It's people that act like they're true crime and they're not, right? And really behind the scenes, they're fucking Krama. But when they get on the thing, oh, we don't talk about other people. We don't do those things. We're so good here. And it is the fakest shit on the planet, right? You'll be posting a prayer talking shit about your mama. That's the truth. All right. Now let's get back on track because I was a little squirrel, right? Somebody brought up some shit and it just bulls my blood to see people like that. That there's, fake ass people out here, advocating, I guess is the word for it. All right. Sebastian Rogers, let's don't forget him, right? Continue to share Sebastian Rogers' face. I know we all believe that Katie did something to him, right? But we still need to bring awareness that he's missing. We need to still share his face just in case, we're wrong and he did run away. And I always leave it with that, we don't know if this boy, like Bullhorn Betty said, he's been chopped up and dismembered and scattered. I don't know, right? But I do know that he's still missing. It's going on a year and a half. We ain't gonna forget him. We will continue to bring up Sebastian and all these other kids. We will be here to the end of these cases, not just here for a buck, here for a click, here for a view. This is real life to us, right? It's 100% real life. We have dedicated a lot of time into all of this, right? Into everything I've done has been surrounding these kids. So when you start faking it, I'm going to say something about it. And I don't mean to be hateful and mean. I'm really a super nice person, right? Super, but maybe too nice. But there's just some things that gets under my skin, and some of these people, it's just, you wish you could take them behind the woodshed, you know, give them a good old school, teach them an old school lesson, right? And if I had my way, you know what I'm saying? If I had my way, that's what some of them would get. They'd be like, "Hey, man, we need to step outside and have a little talk, okay? Let me put my shoes on. It's time me and you go have a little understanding, right? That's what really needs to happen. But you know, it is what it is. So, Jack and Lily, part 2. Okay, I'm gonna try not to go so squirrel on this one. Still missing. A lot of people, I mean, a lot of people are suspicious of Danielson and malehya. Okay, soon as she'll be considered KM, Killer Malehya. All right, to some of these, and this dude will have a name like Fred. Daniel will be Fred, and that'll be KM, Killer Malehya. You know, people make me sick. All right, so a lot of people suspicious of them, right? Suspicious of the family that they've done something, because there hasn't been any signs of these kids in the woods. You know, 2 searches, 2 big searches. The first initial search, and then the second search, which went on this past weekend, turned up nothing. Now, there was articles of kids' things found in the woods, shirts, all kinds of things. But according to the parents, none of this stuff belonged to the kids. So it looks like those kids didn't run off into the woods. They didn't run off into the woods. And if they didn't run off to the woods, there's only 2 other things that could have happened. Either the parents had done something involving some type of foul play or hid the children, okay? Or somebody has abducted these 2 kids. And most people don't think that these kids were abducted, okay? But basically right now, the only 2 options we got is either these parents have some type of responsibility in what's happened to these kids or done something to them, or there's a rogue kidnapper in Nova Scotia. Now, if there is a kidnapper, if there is somebody in Nova Scotia that are hurting children, the police need to make them aware of this, okay? Now, in the Sebastian Rogers case, the police came out and said, you know, the family's cooperating, they've been vetted. They didn't say they've been cleared, but they said, hey, the family's cooperating, the family's been vetted, you know, they're communicating with us, they're cooperating. We ain't heard a lot of that come from RCMP, right? The Royal Mounted, what is it? The Royal Canadian Mounted Police. That's a lot. You know what I'm saying? Can't you just be like the Canadian cops, right? The Canadian cops. A lot of people in Canada say that the police there are tight-lipped. And, you know, I got some comments yesterday on the video, because I read every comment you guys leave, about talking bad about the Canadian police. You know, they say your police ain't that good here, you know, in the States. Why talk bad about the Canadian police? And I didn't really talk bad about the Canadian police. I was saying keep the pressure on them so that they do a good job and they don't forget and just move past Jack and Lily. And the same thing is the reason why we put pressure on Sebastian Rogers, is to keep pressure on the Hendersonville police so they don't go, okay, let's move on. Nobody cares. They ain't hardly even talking about it anymore. It's the pressure. It's the pressure campaign. As YouTubers, we run that because if they know the eyes of the world are watching, they're more likely to do a better job on the case. If nobody's watching, they don't seem to care as much. There ain't as many answers. There's not updates, and there's but if the world is watching you, you're more likely to do the right thing and continue to press hard to find answers. Our system sucks. All Canadians know that. Well, all Canadians don't, little, because I got some messages that were pretty like, oh, how dare you, Dolly? What about Tennessee? I guarantee Canada solves it before Tennessee. Yes, Tennessee sucks. You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you that the police force needs help in Tennessee. I'll be the first one to tell you. They need to reach out to the more FBI and bring in better investigators because they couldn't solve a damn missing puppy case. Okay, I'll tell you that. But if you weigh Tennessee police out onto the police around the country, we got some good. You come to Virginia and fuck around. You'll find out. Okay, we solve shit where I'm at. I don't know. It's these little rural areas, these little places in the middle of nowhere that don't. They got some backwoods detectives and they don't have the best police forces, and they're not equipped to handle this. Where I live at, do you kill somebody around here, you're going to prison. You'll be in jail in a week. All right. Even 1 week later, your ass will be sitting behind bars rotting for the rest of your life. Matter of fact, you'll be rotting for 3 life terms. They don't play here, right? The pressure is important, and Canada's feeling that pressure. They're feeling it. Okay. The Royal Mounted Canadian Police, they're feeling that pressure because you see the backlash. They're talking already all, about sleuths and threats and, things like that. I don't know who would be threatening anybody. I would never do nothing like that. Right. But being suspicious of somebody, here in America, we got free speech. We can say whatever the hell we want to say. All right. Long as it's not defamation or we're causing anybody any harm, we have the right to discuss anything we want to talk about. And, they're already talking about RCMP dropped the ball from the get-go. You see that. And a lot of this is coming from people in Canada, not from me. I tell people really, thank you, Nina. I tell people that, hey, I don't know. I don't really know Canadian laws. I don't know how good Canadian police are. I've never been there. Okay, I've never been there. I can't act like I know something that I've never experienced or never done, right? I couldn't tell you. I can only tell you what people come in here and say to me that are from that area. Now, we've had some people say the police are good, but we've had so many people say that the justice system and the police force is absolutely horrible. That ain't coming from me. I'm just repeating what people in the chat are saying. I don't know. One day I'll know because I'm coming to Canada. I'm eventually coming to visit. So as soon as I get this passport situation taken care of, I will be in Canada. Okay. RCMP are terrible, says Brad. See? So let me ask you guys this. I want y'all guys to give the video a like, right? And then guys from Canada and girls, if you're from the Canada area or you've been to Canada and you think the police suck, press 1. Like the video. If you think the police are great, press 2. Okay. If you've been to Canada. Now, if you ain't skipped this one, this is a question for our Canadians. Okay.
Virginia. I know my home state doesn't play. Now I live in a rural area and it's so different. Thumbs up emoji. You are right, hands down.
Thank you, Helena. Okay, I see some says the police suck. Police suck. Okay. Remember, 2 is good. 1 is terrible. All right. I see Matt says 2. He said thinks the police are good. Okay. And this is just a question of opinion, right? It's just your opinion. There's no wrong or right answer. We don't have an echo chamber here. Okay. I see the police are good. The police are bad. So mixed, a little mixed. Okay. 0. Police in Florida suck. Okay. Right, there's some ones, there's some twos though. I'm a Canadian. You don't F around with the RCM 100. Okay. Some good, some bad. Canada sucks, says Sam. My area are bad. It makes me ill. Sometimes it's usually wrong. I'm praying I'm wrong. Two, but law punishment sucks. One, okay. So we have a mixture in the crowd of how good the Canadian police are. I would say y'all are pretty 50-50. Some people think they're bad. Some people think they're good. And I think if you ask people in the States the same question, we would get about the same results. 50% of people would be like, fucking defund the police. Okay. Don't even pay them. And then the other half would be like, our police are great. When something goes down, the first people you call are the police. I'll use a prime example of this, right? And this will blow your mind. So you guys know I was in Boston last week, right? So I pull up to the Karen Reed court. And Karen Reed has a lot of supporters. So me, I'm a little bit of a goofball. I like to troll a little bit. So when I ride by, I scream out razzle dazzle, right? Which this is just a YouTube, an inside joke here on our channel, because there's a lady by the name of Teller Business that chopped up her lover, and she's crazy. And every time she goes to court, she attacks her attorney, and she screams something out. And she either screamed razzle dazzle or WrestleMania. Okay. We're not quite sure what she screamed, but every now and then I'll scream like razzle dazzle, but it's just a joke to Tell Her Some Business, the lady that attacks her attorneys in court. Right. So when I rode by, I screamed razzle dazzle. All right. So I scream razzle dazzle. And then I get out. Right? Because these are the same people that talk bad about me on the internet. They're like, push up, roll up, like they're going to do something to me. Right? So, I roll up, I get out the Jeep, and I walk through their crowd. So when I walk through the crowd, it's getting cold. So I walk through the crowd, and there's some gentlemen, they're holding free Karen Reed signs and things like this. And they like, you look like a Karen Reed supporter. And I was like, well, I'm definitely not a Karen Reed supporter. And the guy goes, well, I feel sorry for you. And I look back at him. I'm like, to be honest, I feel sorry for y'all. You know what I'm saying? And I keep walking. And I'm walking through the crowd of them. And they're calling me a troll, right? Which I am a little bit, because I did go to troll them a little bit, right? So they were a little bit right in that, right? But, we live in a country where, they believe in their freedom of speech and things like that, and their right to protest, and which I believe in too. I don't argue the point. They got the right to say whatever they want to say. So I walk through the crowd, and this woman walks up to me, and she goes, hey, you out here filming us. I'm just curious to who you are. And I said, well, I'm Jimmy, right? That's my real name. Usually I don't, because I knew she didn't know exactly who I was, but I knew it wouldn't be long before they figured out that I am the YouTube creator, Dolly Vision, right? But for you guys that don't know, my actual name is Jimmy, okay? So I say, I'm Jimmy, I'm from Virginia. And she's like, okay, and she takes off, right? So I go back to the truck. And, but at this time, this lady's pacing, and she definitely heard the razzle dazzle, right? I didn't know razzle dazzle had such a big effect on Karen Reed supporters. But if you want to piss them off, all you got to say is razzle dazzle. You ain't even got to say Karen's. I never even said Karen was guilty or nothing. I just said razzle dazzle, right? So these people believe that the police there are corrupt. They're bad police. They'll beat you to death. Right? All these things, right? That the police are bad, they're murderers, they can't be trusted. So you know who they go get? The police. They go get the police that they believe are corrupt and tell the police that I am there to cause trouble. Okay? The same people that are saying that the police are corrupt out there chanting, fuck the police, right? Soon as they get frazzled from the razzle dazzle, they run to the same police that they just said were corrupt. Okay? Make that make good sense to all you Karen Reed supporters out there. It's crazy. It's crazy. They run and told on me. Little tattletales, okay? Told the same police that they out there protesting. Let me run tell the police. Dolly's here to razzle dazzle us. Listen, I didn't know razzle dazzle was against the law. Okay, I didn't know it violated anybody's constitutional rights to scream razzle dazzle. All right, you can't make it up. So, you got the right, in this country to pretty much, freedom of speech, say what you want to say. But it goes to some people support the police, some people don't, and some people use it when it's convenient for them that the police are bad. But when something happens to you, you run to those same police. Okay? To me, it's funny. I'm sitting in the Jeep laughing, and the cops are being really nice. And actually what they said was, hey, we seen that they were screaming things at you. And I told the police officers, I said, look, I don't get, aggravated that easy. You're not going to get to me like by calling me a name or something like that. I'm not going to snap off and, punch one of these people in the mouth, right? Because they're all older. And I mean, I'm an older guy myself, but I don't know. I just look in better shape, like, than some of these old crusty ass men that were there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can look at them and tell, like, dude, if we was in an alley and there was nobody around and there wasn't no cameras, would you be saying those things to me? I don't think you would. You know what I'm saying? I know you would. I know you would. And you better thank God when you say something to me that there is cameras. All right. Because I'm a real dude. I'm a real human being. Right. So when you say something, you got to remember everything you do in this world, there's consequences and repercussions for doing these things. Now you got a camera in my face. Maybe you may get a different reaction out of me. Not always. Y'all seen that in Georgia. So sometimes I don't give a fuck about the camera. You've crossed that line. And I will, there's just so many buttons you're going to push. Right. So, I just knew that, like, listen, if we had different circumstances, there wasn't cameras around and all these people, would you say these things to me? Right. You wouldn't. You wouldn't. We need razzle dazzle soap bars. Okay, I don't know about that. So I don't know if the Canadian police are good or bad. I haven't been there. I've heard mixed things about them. But I do know this: we're 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in, and we don't have any answers for Jack and Lily. I know I'm all over the place today, and it's just what it is. Okay, I'm all over the place a lot of times, but we don't have any answers for them. And are we going to get any answers? I mean, nothing has came down yet. Or is this going to be another case where, it's like Chris and Katie? Nobody's seen nothing because it's a rural area and nobody does nothing. And even if they did do something, it ain't like they can get the death penalty because Canada don't execute people, which is not a good thing to me. I'm like, we need to light some people up and bring old Sparky back so people stop killing their kids. I wish I would have met you when you came to Boston, Dolly, but hopefully you'll be up here again soon. Now, I was just telling PJ, gonna get me off topic again, that when they go to find Karen Reed innocent or guilty, I may fly up, right? Because if they find her guilty, I want to be able to laugh at some people, right? I'm just going to stand out there. I ain't going to say that. I'm just going to stand out there laughing, right? Just laughing, minding my own business. I might every now and then scream razzle dazzle with a little bit of laughter, right? Because people are so easily triggered, right? They're just so easy to trigger. It don't even take like like I said, it don't even take no work to trigger some people. All I said was razzle dazzle, and these people were all triggered. Like they didn't know who I was, right? They just they don't like razzle or dazzle, apparently, you know. So I just want to go to laugh. But then I told PJ, I said, well, if I fly up there and they find her innocent, or they come to a hung jury again, then I kind of flew up there for nothing, right? Because if she, like I said, if she gets away with it, it's just another rich person to me that bought their freedom. Okay, I ain't gonna lose sleep over it. We live in a country where if you got enough money, you can buy your freedom. All right, Kodak Black did it. He spent $3 million, got out of prison. Okay, he got damn presidential pardon for $3 million. So I already know that even if she goes to prison, she can buy her way out of prison. Okay, it's just the nature of the beast. Our system is broke too. So to look at Canada and go, okay, well, you got these problems. Well, America, we got problems too. Here, you can buy your freedom, right? And if that happens, then I'll just look at it like another person that has bought their freedom. The only time you can't get away with nothing is when you're poor. Okay? If you don't get away with crime when you're poor, unless you're Don and Candace Wells. Okay? For some reason they're poor and they got away with it, right? They got away, in my opinion. But usually poor people pay the price. You don't have the same defense. You don't have the same type of fight, and they don't make your court 6 months long. You be in court 3 days and you be on the way to prison. Okay. You think if I ran somebody over right now, my court would be 2 months long? No, I'd be in court 1 day and I'd be in prison the next. America. That's how we work, right? There's a big divide between the rich and the poor in this country. I don't got it like Karen Reed, right? I don't think many, Helena might, you know what I'm saying? But most of us don't. We're paycheck to paycheck. We're struggling to pay the bills. We're just barely getting by. Now, some of you guys may have, been a little better with your money and better career choices than YouTube and are doing great, But I would say the average American is paycheck to paycheck, the majority. Now, you got some people that are doing, you got to remember when I say rich, I mean like rich in the millions. Now, if you got a nice little nest egg in there and you got everything taken care of, you're doing good. I ain't talking about you, right? I'm talking about rich Americans. Like you got more money than you need. And, my biggest thing is like you see, like, I hate that, some people might disagree with me. Is these people that are rich, but they wouldn't help a soul. Like when I see people like, I'm going to use this dude, and some of y'all might get mad at me for it. Like Joel Osteen, he got fucking 5 private jets, drives a Ferrari, and you're supposed to be this man of God, but you'd walk right past a homeless person. Or like people that have churches, and then when there's a national disaster, they won't even open the doors of the church to people. To me, I look at some people just like that. There's a big divide in our country between the rich and powerful. And you ever notice that the rich only hang with the rich? And all they do is help prop each other up. They're just that's what I'm saying. Like, help God, Joe. I couldn't believe Joe Osteen did that. It's just people like, some of the richest people are the most greediest people. And if you ever worked a job tipping, a job where it's based on tips, you would notice that there's a big divide. Some of the poorest people are the best tipping people. Because I think when you don't have as much, you understand the struggle. When you have a lot, you don't really get it. And the reason people have a lot is because they're a little greedy with their money. Here's one thing though. You can't take the shit with you. You can't take it with you. Laughing so hard at Dolly and Rose that I have tears rolling down. So when I look at certain people, like, like I say, even the court systems work that way. Look at like OJ Simpson. Okay. I know I'm all over the place, but look at OJ. He basically was chopping off heads. Okay. Brutal murders, and money bought his freedom. If the glove don't fit, you must have quit. He turned it into a whole race thing that Mark Furman, dirty cop, planted gloves and turned it against the police, and the police framed me, and OJ walked. Karen Reed, same thing. Rich, the police are corrupt, the police killed him, the police did this, the police did that. And there's a good majority of the people that don't like the police. So what you're doing is you're creating a villain, right? And people can easily villainize the police because the police have done so much wrong. There's good cops and there's bad cops. We all know that, right? So when you turn it on the police, a good majority of people are going to believe you instantly because a lot of the police are bad. But the police get a lot of attention for the bad they do. But think about all the good they do that they get no attention for. Do you ever see the cops on the news for good things? Hardly ever. But every time a cop does something bad, it's plastered all over the news. Yes, thank you, Nina. So the police do a lot of good jobs, but when they do bad, it's plastered pretty much everywhere. So more people think the police are all bad, but really the bad is just highlighted more than they're good. If you wait it out, the police do way more good than they do bad. And if something was to happen to you right now, all these people that hate the police, what gets me is if something bad happened to you, who's the first person you're going to call? Me? You break in my house, I'm calling the police. You come up and try to kill me, I'm calling the police. You know what I'm saying? You steal something from me, I'm calling the police. And the same thing with them people, right? But then they're out there screaming the police are bad. It makes no sense. So let's hope that the Canadian police do a good job. Now let me, I know I've been talking, but let's give a little news update on what's going on in Nova Scotia, to make a long story short. Okay. Let me play this for y'all.
Countless orange and pink ribbons marking grounds covered in the search for 6-year-old Lilly and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan. The siblings have been missing from their Pictou County home since May 2nd. This weekend, searchers were back looking for some sign of the children, covering more ground and focusing on Gairloch Road near their home.
There was a fewer the higher probability areas around waterways and stuff like that we put teams back in around.
RCMP scaled back the search on May 7th and declined an interview today, but say they will review and assess this weekend's efforts to determine next steps.
Any investigation like this, they're going to start closest to the children and work their way out. From the physical search perspective and from the investigation, who had access to those children.
Saturday, around 100 search and rescue volunteers went over several square kilometers, and Sunday, more joined, about 115. Now the conditions are swampy terrain, dense forests, lots of bugs, and rain.
Okay. And
all right, so right now, the decoy is going.
All right. Let me close this. There was something else I wanted to play for you guys too. Let me see if I got it handy. Her teeth. Okay, that's PJ sent me something. Let me
2 young children missing.
Let's play this.
It's hard on the entire community.
It has been more than 2 weeks.
Did I show that video? Did I even show it?
Since 6-year-old Lilly Sullivan and her 4-year-old brother Jack were reported missing from their home. Police have said the children are believed to have wandered away from their property in Lansdowne Station on May 2nd. Premier Tim Houston, whose riding is in Pictou County, calls it a devastating time.
I know the authorities are running a professional, thorough search, but this is weighing heavy on the minds of certainly people in Pictou County, but well beyond as well.
A wide-scale search was carried out over 6 days, but efforts were scaled back on May 7th, with police saying there was little chance the siblings were still alive. However, more than 100 volunteers renewed the search over the long Victoria Day weekend, targeting specific areas around the road near their home. On Tuesday, RCMP declined our request for an interview for an update. In a statement, the Mounties say investigators and search managers will be reviewing information collected during the searches on Saturday and Sunday and determining next steps. The children's stepfather says he's thankful to all the people searching for Lilly and Jack, and he refuses to give up hope.
The scenario everyone's hoping for is we bring them home. That's the main objective. It's always been that from day one.
The disappearance has sparked rampant speculation on social media, much of it involving Martel. He calls it all nonsense and says he's had nothing to do with the disappearance.
It will never be enough for a lot of people online. I mean, everywhere I go, people stare. But that's something I have to live with until, the truth makes its way out. And the truth always makes its way out.
Sky Bryden Blom, Global News, Halifax.
Okay. He is right about one thing. The truth always comes out. Sometimes it takes a lot of time before it does, but it does eventually all come out. Cold so-called parents, lack of emotion. And here's the thing, the mother's out here saying the police have told her not to talk. I think that's a lie. That's just my opinion. If he can talk, the mother can talk, and she ain't doing nothing. And we've seen a lot of that in the Sebastian Rogers case up here too, that Katie didn't talk. She did 1 year later. She, in the beginning she talked, right? And I don't know if it's because the internet gave Katie so much hell that she stopped talking, right? But the internet didn't even have time to give this lady hell, Malehya. They didn't even have time to give her, any backlash for what she said. And then she just instantly shut up and vanished. Basically same thing, left. And we had so many parents in the Sebastian Rogers case say, hey, I would never, if my kid was missing, I'd never leave my kid behind. And Malehya basically did the same thing with Jack and Lilly. She packed up and left. Now, don't you think if your kids came home or they found your kids, you would want to be there? It seems very strange to me, and nobody yet. And we're talking 3 weeks in. I ain't seen one tear, for these children. Not one. I seen people do a lot of fake crime, but nothing. When their hands move, there ain't no tears. There ain't nothing wet. They cry like Monkey Boy, okay? And his jaundiced ass. It's fake. It's to me. It looks so forced to me that it is unreal. Dolly, why is this guy still advocating when those are not his kids? Well, these ain't my kids, right? They're not my kids, and I'm still out here fighting for them. You can fight. You can be a good step parent. You can, right? Everybody ain't an asshole, right? So, every step parent ain't a bad step parent. PJ has a kid. I treat her kid just as good as I treat my kid. Matter of fact, we just signed her up for boxing. I'm going to be taking her to boxing 3 days a week. Some people are just good people, right? If you get with a man or woman out there, I don't know which one, mostly women in here, but you get with a man, you better get with a man that loves your kids just as much as they love you, because you're a package deal. Right. So there's good step parents out there. Just because it ain't my kid don't mean, I'm going to be mean to her. Right. So just because they're not biologically his child, he's got to be shitty or not care. Right. I wouldn't want nothing to happen to PJ's child. If her child was missing, I'd be right beside PJ looking for her child. So, yeah, is he overdoing it? I do think he's overdoing it a little bit, right? But there's nothing wrong with caring about your significant other's child, and if they've been in his life for 2 years, and that's a good while to be taking care of, you know, the only father figure in these kids' life, because apparently their dad is not the best person and he don't really care too much, right, to be in these kids' life. So see, he right here says I raised my nephews. Yeah, I mean, and he's the only father figure in their life, you know, because like I said, their dad is not involved. Maybe he really genuinely loves them kids. You can love kids that are not biologically yours. I love my dog. Okay, I love Wrangler. He's PJ's dog. And I didn't give birth to them dogs. They're not biologically my dogs, right? But they are my dogs, and I love my dogs. I love my kids. I love my girl. You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing wrong with being a genuinely decent, good person. But is that real? That is the question. Is it legit, or is he faking that? And sometimes it's hard to tell, right? That's really hard to tell. And I think most people think that he's pretty much faking that. That is, he's not, you know, really that concerned, or, you know, he seems more concerned now than he did when the kids were there, because let's be honest, they didn't get up to check on him. They didn't get up to change Jack's diaper. They didn't get up to feed the kids, right? So he wasn't really concerned about the kids so much then. Why is he so concerned right now, right? If you would have did all those things, you wouldn't be in the situation that you're in right now. If you'd have got up, took care of the kids, looked after the kids, fed the kids. And, you know, a lot of times people say, open the phone lines. Give me a second. A lot of people say that, you know, when you don't go to school, the school calls. Why ain't Lily in school? Why ain't Jack in school? Or anything. Why didn't they get up to even check to see if they were going to send the kids to school? Here's the thing. Lily had a cough, so they didn't send Jack to school on Thursday. Okay? They didn't even check on Friday and didn't send Jack to school on Friday. Why not? Even if Lily was sick, Jack's not. Why would you not send Jack? Because Lily didn't go. Okay? They're two different ages, so you know they're in two different school classes. Right? So, what is it, pre-kindergarten? I mean, I don't know what Canada got's there, but preschool? Why not send Jack? It don't make any sense to me. And then usually you get a call from the school that your kid's not there. Now, I don't know if that's the same way in Canada, but like say your kid don't show up to school, the school's going to be calling your phone. Hey, why ain't the kid here? You know, make sure when they come, they bring a doctor's note. This will be an unexcused absence. That's how they do it here in the States. Now, because, you know, PJ's kid's still in school, and if she gets sick, you know, and she don't go to school, they blowing up the phone. They're sending text messages. They're sending emails. They're calling. But, you know, that's American schools. They kind of, they'll put you in jail. Your kid don't go to school here. That's just how it works. I really, like I said, this being going on in Nova Scotia, I don't know exactly how everything works. I would think being so close, you know, bordering our country, it'd be similar or close to what goes on here. I don't think it's that much difference, but I don't positively know. So, yeah, I'll open up the phone lines. Give me a second. And we're just talking in general on the case today, and of course the Sebastian Rogers case. And if you want to touch in on any of these missing kids, you're always welcome to. Summer Wells, Michael Bond, Harmony Montgomery, you name them, Cow City Boys. Dolly.
Doug from Tennessee.
What's up, Doug?
Hey, man. I hope they find my buddy Sebastian.
Yeah.
And them two little kids.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pitiful, man. All these kids disappearing at all times.
I know. I don't know if my StreamYard did something new, but it seems like the number is awful big on the screen. I don't remember it being that big. Hold on.
Man, it is. It's double the size.
I know. I remember it being like that. Let me change the style of this or something. There we go. That's a little bit better. I can live
We,
with that.
we sure get a lot of people from Tennessee calling you, don't we?
Yeah, well, you know, for the last couple years, I've been doing a lot of cases in Tennessee. So, I mean, I would think a lot of people in Tennessee probably watch me, considering I done been down there searching for Sebastian, Summer, Layla Santinella. Like, I've done a lot of stuff in Tennessee.
Yeah. I think one of your viewers is from Hickson, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not for sure, but that's close to Dougie.
Oh, close to you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Like, I don't do nothing, man.
How far are you from Nashville, Doug? How far did you have to come to meet me?
2.5 hours, 3.
Oh,
at the
damn.
most.
Oh, okay. So you took a little ride to come that day.
Yeah, we stayed the weekend.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a place down there. There's a place down there called the Fiddler's Inn,
Uh-huh.
and they got little nightclubs and bars right there close to it. You can walk.
Oh.
You don't have to drive. They have bands and everything there.
Oh, okay. So you made the whole weekend out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what's up.
But it was fun, man. I enjoy things like that.
Okay.
We go different places, man. My wife gets vacation. We just take off.
Oh,
We
okay.
to Washington D.C. I rode my General Lee up in Washington D.C.
Oh, all right. All right. I'm not too
and they
far.
didn't like it.
I'm about 3.5 hours from DC myself.
Yeah. They didn't like it. They didn't like my motorcycle up there.
They didn't?
Uh-uh.
Okay.
That old one and everything on it, flag and everything. They didn't like it.
I don't get the big deal about that. I thought, you know, the Dukes of Hazzard, you know, some good old boys never doing no harm is in their song. They good old boys. They just, I don't know. People funny. People funny. You know,
I'm a mean old fellow though, ain't
I grew up watching the Dukes of Hazzard. I mean, I don't know the big deal, but I mean, I guess people, you know, they look at things as, I guess, a symbol of hate. And I don't really see it that way, but you know, you can make people perceive things different ways. You know, it's perception, I guess.
Well, you see me, you think I'm a mean person.
I wouldn't think you're mean. I just think you're a big person.
Yeah.
You don't look mean though, Doug.
But I have fun.
Yeah, that's important. You better have fun. You only live once.
I have fun. Just look at. I know nobody at that thing. I had a blast.
Yeah.
I cut up with everybody. I'm outgoing and fun.
Yeah, I had a good time when I was out there. I'm pretty outgoing and I try to have fun too. I'm just a big kid, you know, in reality.
Just like you. I mean, seriously, you're the same person that I met in Nashville as I see you right now.
Yeah, I try to be. That's what I try to tell people, that, you know.
Is a check in the mail?
Yeah. I just said it. I'm the same dude all the time. That's the thing, is I don't have to put on a show or act. You know, I just got to come up here and I wake up. Sometimes I don't even wipe the drool off my face. I just turn the camera on and go, you know, and it's real. And there's so many people up here that ain't genuine. And I think people don't see it, but I think the real ones do, you know.
Oh, yeah. You can tell. Just like you can tell a lot of people when you meet them.
And I think that goes into their numbers too, like their subscriber count, you know, is they're not real people, and they don't usually have a ton of, not a real high subscriber count, because I think the real recognizes real, you know.
Well, see, I speak my mind on your show.
So
if I speak my mind on somebody else, I get blocked, cut off.
Yeah, I don't try to run an echo chamber. I always say people are entitled to their opinions here. Like, I don't have to agree with your opinion. You don't have to agree with mine. You know, it's a more of a discussion channel. If everybody agreed on everything, it would be a boring ass world. You wouldn't have nothing to discuss.
But I do believe up in Canada, they know more than what they're telling people. They don't talk like the police do here in the States.
Yeah,
they keep everything close.
Yeah, I'm starting to hear that, but you know, like, are they keeping nothing close because they have nothing, or they got something and they keeping that close? I don't know. It's just, it worries me. Anytime kids go missing like this under weird circumstances and nothing's happening, it kind of makes me think, oh man, because I've had a lot of bad experiences with definitely Tennessee, you know.
that's because the law up here don't do the right thing.
Yeah.
I don't care. They don't do the right thing. I don't care what you say. You ass would be in jail until you told me where that child was at. I don't care if you stayed there for 100 years.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't blame Katie Proudfoot, but your ass would be in jail until I found your child. You were the last person to see it. You're the last person around it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you would definitely be there answering questions till we found that kid.
Yeah, right.
So
and so just like here, they ought to get all them people in there and say, well, they said you did it.
Exactly.
No, they said you did it. No.
Exactly.
And somebody will talk. And just like you said, Summer Wells. One thing, like you said, that caught my eye was Summer Wells. Grandis is always around when somebody goes missing.
Yeah, I know.
One if she took Summer Wells to the same place she done her other daughter at.
Well, when kids go missing, they need to treat the house as a crime scene until they know a crime has not been committed. And they don't do that. I think they need to change that. Once a kid goes missing, this is a crime scene. Your ass don't move. You don't touch nothing. You don't do nothing until we know that this is a runaway. Because look at Sebastian's house. People were able to walk in and out of it. And even in the case of John Benet Ramsey, they were having friends over, having dinner, and the little girl's body was in the basement. So you're contaminating a crime scene.
But what is the odds that a child goes missing twice in your life, in your family, and you're around? What's the odds?
Slim.
He's slim. Boy, she ought to go play the lottery because her slim is running thin.
I agree.
Sorry.
I don't trust Grandis either.
You just don't. That don't happen in your lifetime in your family. And they disappear. And so if she made the first one disappear and nobody ever found her, she knows where to take the second one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right, Doug. You be good.
All right. Tell PJ hi.
I will. Peace. All right. So this person says this guy doesn't know how the justice system works. It depends where you're at. Let me tell you this. We have a thing called criminal child neglect. It's across America. Some police use it. Some people police don't. My state, your ass, your kid goes missing. You were with your kid and you don't know where your kid went. You going to jail. All right. They're going to put you in there for criminal child neglect, which is a felony here in the state. Okay. You're going to sit there locked up with no bond, and they'll make your court hearing 3 months away. And during that 3 months, they're going to work on bringing charges against you or figuring out what happened to your child. So to say people don't get locked up till their kids are found, it's not a true statement, Ritz. Corey Bixby, right now, state of Virginia, 3 days after they found out his kid was missing, he went to jail. They hit him with 60 counts of criminal child neglect. He then was charged with second-degree murder with no body. They never found the body. Nobody ever seen him do anything, but a kid seen Cody non-responsive. And they gave him 40 years. No body in 30 minutes. I was at the court hearing. 30 minutes. His jury was out for 30 minutes. They came back. Second-degree murder, no body, no physical evidence. 40 years in prison. Matter of fact, I bumped into him in the bathroom. He did get out on bond because they violated his constitutional rights. So they will lock you up like that. You know what I'm saying? They will. It just depends where you're at. So, and if they hadn't, violated this, he got a civil rights lawyer, and he was able to get out right before court. But he sat in jail the whole time, and right before court, when they started to put a lawsuit against the state of Virginia for violating his constitutional rights. So let me eat this piece of chocolate. But it happens. All right, now let me open the phone lines. Yeah, Yeah, I mean, it's it's that. I missed your call, caller. Sorry. So it seems like it's easy until you do it. You know what I'm saying? Then you'll be in prison. Dolly,
Hi, Dolly. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Canada. I'm in Alberta, but I'm originally from Nova Scotia.
Okay. So what do you think
So-
about this situation and how good your police are there in Nova Scotia and all that good stuff?
Well, I'll tell you, Dolly, I worked close with the RCMP for years,
Uh-huh.
and they keep their information tight to the. I'm telling you, this case may not be solved for a long time, but you guarantee that something may come down months later, maybe a year later.
Uh-huh.
Those kids have been gone so long now that I don't think they're alive unless they were kidnapped, and that's sad.
Yeah, I said the
It's sad
same
to
thing.
say.
Like,
Yeah.
at this point, the best
Yeah.
thing that could happen is somebody had grabbed them and is taking care of them.
Yeah, that's the best thing that could happen. But the RCMP, they keep their shit close to their belt. Let me tell you that. Yeah, and they know a lot more than what's out in the papers and what's out in the press and the public. They know a lot more. And that house, I can guarantee you that they've gone through that house. It may not. It may have been
I live
before.
in Canada, and I think the
the
RCMP
public got all
only
the
has
information and
circumstantial
whatever,
evidence
you
and
know?
not enough to
Hold
arrest
up,
anyone.
caller. Sorry, there was a super chat that was coming through.
Yeah, go ahead.
And Jen, thank you so much for your super chat. But what it does is it reads it out loud, so it's reading the super chat out while you're talking. So it's kind of it was kind of hard to hear you. So I hate to ask you, but could you repeat what you said?
Yeah, I just like I said, they keep it close to the belt, the RCMP, and I think they've gone through that house. I just think it was done before it got publicized out to everybody.
Yeah.
I don't think that they missed going through the house and looking for stuff. I really don't think that happened.
Yeah.
You know, that would be really high neglect. I've never seen that happen. You know.
So who do you like? I hate to ask you this. What do you think happened? Just your opinion.
I think that the both of them are responsible. That's my opinion. And I think that the reason that they split was because they were afraid that one of them was going to say something that was not in tune with the other. And I think that's why they split and she took off. Because, you know, and then they got their pat down what they've, they did. And having them both close together, I think is just the chance of them being pitted against one another kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's why she took off. But a mother doesn't take off when your kid's gone like that. I don't care what anybody says. Any innocent woman would not leave until something was settled. And even if they were arguing or whatever, you don't run that far away.
Yeah.
You know, you stay in the area at least.
Yeah.
You know, you want answers. You're a mother. Come on.
Yeah, I would say the same thing that, okay, well, we may not want to be together after this, but we at least want to stick this out till we find the kid or find answers.
Right.
And then I'll leave.
Yeah, or at least a significant amount of time.
Yeah. A lot of people believe that Daniel's really abusive to her, and that's why she's took off like this, that he's abusive. But, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say, and not being there, and he's never been arrested for any domestic violence charges, so to put that on somebody is kind of hard to say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is. It's hard to say if there's no record on him, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot of allegations going around, right? With drug use too and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of things that are going around, and you have to really watch what you're taking in and what you're not taking in. I guess
absolutely.
You can't believe absolutely everybody 100%.
Of course. That's what,
You know,
and that's the bad thing about here on YouTube. If a few people say it, people take it as
Yeah.
100% truth, but some people
Yeah.
just follow the leader, and then the leader's wrong. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. But the only chance of those children being alive is if they were bought.
yeah,
You know.
I agree. And there's a lot of people.
And
What about this one? People are saying that they sold the children.
I know, that's what I mean. The children were bought.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean. Yeah. And I mean, believe me, the RCMP are looking for that money.
Yeah.
They're keeping an eye on everything, And the RCMP don't just they work with the city too, right? Like there's a lot of the FBI. I mean, everybody. It's not just the RCMP alone. There's a big network, Dolly, that they work with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people may not know who they are. I mean, nobody knows, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, they work with a big network. This is not just the RCMP alone, And I mean, if you know the RCMP, I mean, they keep their stuff tight. I'm telling you, very tight. You don't see them on TV spewing a whole lot of information.
Mm-hmm.
As if it was a drug bust in the city, and you get all this information, where the crime started.
I think the bad thing about that though is if you don't give a little bit, then people just speculate and their mind wants to fill in the gaps, and that's where we come up with all these people saying the crazy things about them. I mean, I'm not saying that they're suspicious, but actually blaming them for the crime. There's people out here right now on YouTube that are absolutely blaming them. Now, I'm suspicious of them, right? I don't think everything adds up, but I never point the finger at them.
Yeah.
And there's some people pointing the finger out here saying things as it's truth, and they have no way to verify it. So, I mean, that's when people are doing damages to these cases. There's nothing wrong with thinking somebody's suspicious until there's proof. There's a problem when you're blaming people for crimes they didn't commit.
Yeah. But then you got the other side of that, Dolly, where there's people who do know them.
Yeah.
And are saying these things that are true. And and it does screw up the case. But there's a lot of people that are telling the truth too.
Yeah.
And I know it screws up the whole thing, but the RCMP listen to every single detail, if it's a suspicion or otherwise, every detail goes in the record, everything. So you can bet that they're following YouTube too.
I know they are. I know they are. All police. They have their digital forensic people that watch the YouTube stuff. Hey, but look, I appreciate you calling in and chopping it up with me. You be good.
Yeah. Thanks, Dolly.
All
God bless you for taking this on.
No problem. Peace.
Okay.
All right. So right here just says, I wish the rumors and speculation would stop. These babies need found. I'm a resident of Pictou County. Just listen. The thing about this is just like I was telling her is when we have sometimes the police that come out here in the States, and when there's a case, especially if it's a high profile case, they'll clear up misinformation. They'll usually do it on their websites and things like that. They had it in the Idaho 4 where they cleared up speculation. So people wouldn't run with crazy things, right? You would already know better. But, a lot of people have said that you guys there in Canada, your police keep everything really tight. They don't say anything. And then usually after it's done, they'll come out with a report of everything that kind of transpired, which is a little bit different than what happens here in America. Now, our police usually give us a little something, especially when they need the help of the public. If they don't need the help of the public, then they're a little bit more tight-lipped or close to the chest, like people like to say. But I think transparency is the best way. Be honest with the people. We pay the police taxpayers' money here, and we expect a little bit of transparency. That's why we have the Freedom of Information Act, right? So we can see these things, have these things, and we see them come out. Now, do the police really want these things out? Probably not. But we have that right as Americans to, to hold our police accountable and see what they're doing. And it's basically policing the police to make sure the police are not doing anything wrong, right? So when you do this, it clears up a little bit of the speculation. It won't never clear up all of it. And no matter what we say or what we do, the speculation will not stop. It's human nature for people to think in their minds what happened and to give their opinion. Like I said, was telling her, it's bad when people get up here and state things as fact when they have no way of verifying that to be fact. Now, I try to tell people, as a YouTuber, you're given a voice. That voice, it's like a superpower, right? People listen to it. People believe you. So with that voice comes great responsibilities, like Spider-Man. Y'all have heard that saying, right? Everybody seen Spider-Man in here? With great powers come great responsibilities. And some people abuse those powers and they say things that are factual and people start to believe it. I argue with people all the time over misinformation. Now, do I speak speculation? Yes. Do I speak theories and gossip? Yes. But I clearly let you know, hey, we're talking theories, speculation, gossip. Don't take nothing here as fact, right? Because when you're presenting something as a fact, people believe that and then they start to spread it. And if you're spreading misinformation or you're blaming somebody for something that they didn't do, it's horrible. I don't think anybody out here wants to be blamed for something you didn't do. Now, if I looked at you and let's just say I had $100 and it was missing, and I go, I'm suspicious of all of you. Is that bad? Right? Because one of you got my $100. But if I blame you, like if I went red fish, blue fish, you stole my $100. That's horrible, because now everybody in the room is going to think red fish, blue fish is a thief and he stole my $100. Right? Which he did. I'm just using that as an example, right? Y'all don't go after the red fish, blue fish, right? But I'm just saying, so people hear these things and they believe it. And just like in the Sebastian Rogers case, there's YouTube channels that are in little cliques. They're little friends. Oh, we love each other. Let's hold hands and sing Kumbaya and roast fucking s'mores over the campfire, right? So when one of them says it, the next one goes live and they say the same thing. And then their little buddies that they'll go with, they'll say the same thing. And then people watch that, and because a few people said it, they believe it as truth. Well, Dolly, I've seen this on this channel and that channel. Well, guess what? They were all fucking wrong. I don't give a damn what channel you seen it on, okay? You seen it on some bullshit channels, and you're running this as it's fact, and then everybody starts saying it, and nobody in the chat say this is my opinion, right? And people see this stuff, and they're taking it as fact. And when it's absolutely not. Ain't none of these people fucking fact checking nothing, verifying it. And that's why I tell you this is, all speculation, theories, gossip, because I don't have fact checkers. Okay. I tell you guys a lot of stuff that is actually happening. But I don't have anybody to go run. I'm not CNN. I'm not Fox News. I'm not, Dateline. I don't have a whole bunch of people to run behind me and fact check everything I say. That's why I just say it's all satire, it's all speculation, just my opinion. But there's a lot of facts in what I say. And I try not to spread, the best of my ability, to spread misinformation. Have I ever spread misinformation? Yes. Okay. But usually when I find out something's wrong, I come back and go, guys, I was completely wrong on that. That's not true. This is what's going on. It happens, right? But some people, they don't even do that. They just throw misinformation out there, and some people purposely do it. Okay, like we were talking about the dude that looked like a dead orange with too much makeup. He purposely spreads misinformation. Purposely goes out his way to make shit up, right? And that's when it's not good, and that's when it's damaging. Dolly, Dolly, you are concerned about falsely accusing someone, but you're okay with cruel and unusual punishment. I am definitely not good with cruel and unusual punishment. I'm pro death penalty. You take a life, I believe you deserve it. You have your life taken. cruel and unusual punishment, it all depends on the circumstances. All right. To me, I wouldn't say I'm pro cruel and unusual punishment. I mean, I don't know where you get that I'm into cruel and unusual punishment. I'm not the one that punishes people anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't treat you cruel or do unusual punishment to you. So I don't know how you come to that conclusion, to be honest with you. The way I think justice should be handled may be a little bit different than the way you think justice should be handled. But I think in locking people up till they figure out the answers of what you've done, I mean, if you violate child neglect charges, I guess that's what you're talking about when I was speaking on the child neglect charges. Yeah, I believe you should be in jail. Yeah, your kid goes missing. You don't know what happened to him under your watch. And you can't explain it. You absolutely should be in jail. To me, that's not cruel and unusual. That's common. Okay, I live in Virginia. Your ass going to jail. That's common punishment around here. That ain't cruel and unusual. That's what happens. Okay, that ain't something I'm just like. And do I support that? I would say absolutely, absolutely. Leave your kid in a hot car. Your ass should be in jail, right? Leave your 10-year-old kid and go out bar hopping. You should be in jail. Leave your baby in the playpen and go out clubbing with some dude you just met. Your ass should be in jail. Is that cruel and unusual? I think not. I think that's pro life. All right. Life matters. These kids are important. They deserve better. If you think that makes me a bad person because I want kids treated good and like they should be and kids not to be abused, then think I'm cruel and unusual. It ain't going to change how I sleep on my pillow. When you don't do right, then you deserve putting someone in jail until they talk is cruel and unusual punishment. Not when you're guilty. It's only cruel when you innocent. All right. When you guilty, you deserve what you get. You deserve worse, right? I don't take up for criminals. I don't support cop killers like in the Karen Reed situation. I don't take up for the bad guys. Listen, I'm a good person. I want it to be safe when I go to the store. When my kid leaves work, I want her to be able to go get in her car without being killed. I want a good society. I want good things. I don't want to get mugged when I walk out to 7-Eleven drinking a fucking Slurpee. And I don't want people killing their kids. Like I said, I think everybody wants the same things, even Ritz. I think we all want the same things. We just have different views of how we get that. You know what I'm saying? Now, would I want you locked up forever if you had nothing to do with anything? No. But sometimes it takes a little tiny bit of time to get to that point. Now, you say lock people up forever till they talk. I don't technically mean forever. You know, until we can figure out what's going on is what I'm saying. Now, you may take that, figuring out, I expect that to be done in a reasonable amount of time. Okay. And let me tell you this. Jail ain't going to kill you. All right. It's not going to kill you. I mean, there's people that have been killed in jail. Don't get me wrong. It could kill you, but it's not going to kill you. You sit there for a little bit. It's just boredom, right? I don't know if you ever been locked up. I've been in jail. You know, I broke the law. I went my ass to jail where I belonged. Do I feel sorry for myself? No. Do I feel like I was wrongly incarcerated? No, I broke the law. You do something fucking stupid, you pay the price for it. Man up. You do the crime, you do the time. If it, you know, I can't sit there and say, well, don't do that to these people, and then I do it. You know what I'm saying? Expect a different result. Hell no. Nah. If I do something crazy, I slap the shit out of somebody, I know I'm going to jail. Okay? It's just what it is. I take the punishment and go, all right. Right before I slap the shit out of you, I know I'm going to jail. I weigh life out like that. You say something to me And the first thing that registers in my head is, this person worth me going to jail over? Right? Are you worth me going to jail over? And the answer is yes, then I'm going to your ass. All right. If the answer is no, I don't feel like it, I don't want to hear trays tonight, but that's how, as a man, I weigh shit out. Are you worth jail? Because I know when I do something, I'm going there. You know, I know every action has a consequence, right? Every action. And you should have to think like that. When you go to hit your kid, am I going to go to prison over this? You should be thinking that before you do it. And then when you go, yeah, I am, then you shouldn't hit your fucking kid unless you want to go to prison. Do I want to sit my ass and eat fake bologna sandwiches? You need to ask yourself, you need to think about the consequences before you do something. And everything in life, everything has a consequence for it. And you need to think about those consequences before you commit the crime. And if you ain't willing to sit there and hear trays and hear people fart and have to shit in front of people, then don't commit the crime. You ain't built for that life. You know what I'm saying? Like when I sat there, I was like, yeah, I'm getting the hell out. I ain't even going to jaywalk. Okay. Because I don't want to live that life. That ain't me. You know what I'm saying? But I know when I do shit where I'm going, I ain't never got a free pass. Everything I've done, I paid for in my life sevenfold. Look at his face. You think they don't put me, every time I walk in front of a judge done something wrong, I'm going to jail. Especially I'm broke, right? I ain't rich. I can't buy I ain't Karen Reed. I can't buy my freedom. So I've sat there and thought about everything I've done and thought about what is most important to me. And, you know, so I don't think I'm, and you got to remember, I'm still for capital punishment. I'm still for locking people up. Even if that person's me, if I do something stupid. Now, I would never do nothing major, right? I'm not a robber, killer, rapist, any murderer. So I don't never have to worry about going to jail for long. However long it is for slapping the shit out of somebody. What is that? 30, 60 days? If you can do the 30 or 60 days, you know, catch me in the right mood. You'd say the wrong thing. You never know. I might set up camp. It's just the way it is. But yeah, there's consequences for your actions, and don't do nothing to hurt kids, and you don't have to worry about sitting your ass in jail. Pay attention to your kids, watch your kids, check on your kids, and you won't go to jail. You don't have to worry about that. Steal Betty's bullhorn, right? I didn't steal Betty's bullhorn. I grabbed the bullhorn and I went to jail. Okay. I grabbed that bullhorn. Y'all, everybody watch me grab the bullhorn. Everybody on YouTube watch me go to jail. Right. So, I mean, I knew when I did it, I was going to jail. Okay. Matter of fact, before I did it, and you don't believe me, I said to Molly Golightly, I said, I know how to shut her up, but are you going to get me out of jail? You know what I'm saying? And then I acted, right? I just want to make sure somebody was willing to get me out first, right? Because I knew I was going to jail, right? It was no doubt in my mind. Did I think that was cruel and unusual punishment? No. I mean, I knew where I was going, right? I knew. Everybody in YouTube knew. They were like, "Dolly going to jail." Next thing you know, boom, I'm in handcuffs. I'm on my way to damn Savannah. Matter of fact, it's in my intro of me getting out of jail. Okay. So I knew what was going to happen. I ain't stupid. When people hurt their kids, they should be in jail. I mean, it is what it is. So, LOL, and you walked out an hour later. Yeah, I would have been out sooner, but they had a blackout. Okay, all the power went out in the jail and they couldn't process me. They wanted to get me out even quicker, right? That's the only time in my life I have ever been kicked out of jail. Catch me outside. How about that? All right, listen, I'm triggered by bullhorns. Okay, just don't bring a bullhorn around me, and you probably good. Don't be screaming shit at me because I'm a real human being. You say something crazy, you're gonna get a reaction. So you know there was a lady out there. She was campaigning for a reaction from me, and she got that reaction. She got what she wanted, right? And so many people thought that I was going to jail for fucking ever on a misdemeanor charge or something like that. But that wasn't the case. They didn't even do anything. I never even went to court. Okay. So that was one of those times I could buy my freedom. That's how I know that sometimes you can buy your freedom when you got some money, and sometimes you can't. That time I was able to buy my freedom. All right. So that's the country we live in, where that's how I know it's true. You can buy your freedom. Right. I was broke. I'd have been in jail down there in Georgia, but I won't. Not that time. And, basically I never had to show up to court. Any leads in the Jack and Lilly case? No, it's pretty bad. It's one of those situations where everything's quiet, and this may be the quiet before the storm, right? And, I think that second search was just to make sure that the kids wasn't in the woods, because, now the pressure, more focus is going to go on to the parents, because them kids are not in the woods, or they're going to have to switch their focus to this was an abduction. I want to call in, Dolly. All right, I'll open the phone lines real quick, ma'am. I was getting ready to get out of here. But as far as anything physically new in the case, no. We're just talking about it to continue to bring awareness to the case, so people don't forget about it. It stays fresh. That we want answers to keep. Dolly. Hello.
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, hi, Dolly. It's Short Legs.
Short Legs. Okay. I was opening the phone for Mab to call in, but what's up?
Oh. I just wanted to say, with children like Jack and Lily and Sebastian, and it's very hard on the parents at first to understand the logic and the differences of your children compared to, children in a regular classroom. It's very hard in the beginning to accept that, something in the development is off.
Uh-huh.
And it's like they have some missing links in their brain, okay? And what you have to teach them to do is reroute their brain around the missing links so that they can continue on in a more, a better, so that they can develop progress.
Mm-hmm.
And it just takes them longer.
Okay.
But, when a parent first, finds out, you're crying, you're hysterical, you're like, oh my God, what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
I've tried everything. But then you have to calm yourself down, and you have to say, okay, we have to work on, this missing link one at a time. And just, come to peace with it.
Okay.
And that's the most important thing, is to come to peace with it. And it's nothing you did. A lot of these kids have perfect genetics.
Uh-huh.
It's just that they didn't develop properly, and the doctors, and nobody knows why, unless, they had a very bad flu very young, where they spiked a fever, and the fever destroys links in a young baby's mind. So
Okay.
this is how I explain it. I don't like to go into.
I mean, I understand kids have disabilities, but what does it have to do with these kids missing?
Oh, well, I feel like these parents didn't know how to parent. I feel like the mother was very upset with the children.
Uh-huh.
The stepdad obviously didn't know what to do. And I do feel that they hurt the children.
Yeah, because of their disability.
And especially because there was 2 of them missing, and 2 with some form of disability.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, it may be something like that. They didn't know how to handle the kids, or the kids were too much. I think having 3 kids at a young age is a fucking lot. I mean, that would be too much for me, right? That'd be too much for me. I ain't saying that some people can't handle it. I know there's women out here that handle it easy, even more, have 4 or 5 kids, young kids. I couldn't handle it. I mean, that's why, I only have 1 kid, and I.
Well, you think that, but it depends on the development of the child. If the child gives you no problems and they're
Yeah, but
A to B students, and you know, it just kind of flies.
yeah, I mean,
you
Tiff,
know,
Tiff was a real good kid. Like
flies in
I
a
had,
good way.
I didn't have any problems with Tiff. So, and it was still hard. It's still hard today, and she's 25 years old. I can't imagine how hard 3 kids. If I had 3 kids, it'd be hard. So now I got 2. I got my.
You think that, but
kid.
when they get like over 18, they start helping each other.
Well, PJ's kid's a little bit more. She's a little more emo, so she don't really like. I don't know. Tiff went through that same stage where she didn't like anything, you know, where I just hate the world. I think kids go through that stage where they just hate everybody and everything. And Tiff's was short, and PJ's kid's kind of at that point. I remember when Tiff, I remember when
between
Tiff,
adolescence and adulthood, yeah, when
yeah,
your
they
body
get
goes
where
through
they,
all those changes.
yeah, they start to
you
get
know.
that age where they don't like anybody, and then they don't usually last long. It didn't last long with Tiff, but there was that short period where she didn't last long. I think that PJ's child, she's kind of at that point where she's becoming a woman, and she right now she wants to be more independent, you know, so she really don't.
Yeah, that
She don't
when
really
they start driving and getting independent, it's scary.
where she don't like everybody yet right now. She's kind of mad at the world, a little emo, I call it. Like, you know,
And they have to sit in the Jesus seat. That's what we call it when they're learning how to drive.
but for the most part, you know,
Yeah.
like I said, you know, I just don't think I could take 3 small kids. It would be not with the nerve. I already chewed my fingernails off. I'm already got bad nerves. I don't think I could take it. I mean, I ain't saying there's women out here that can take it, you know, that can deal with it. I just don't think it would have been good for me to have that many children at once.
So if you had a girl, you might have, you know, she would be a helper most likely.
I would hope so. 3 kids. You know what I'm saying? You better help.
There's
You know what I'm
always
saying?
one that's a helper.
Okay. Well, all right,
You
short
know.
legs. You be good. It was good talking to
And
you.
there's always one that's always going to be
All right.
handful.
right.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Peace. Yeah, kids are a handful. Like, I mean, some kids are good, but some, you know, require more attention. Dolly,
Hey, Dolly.
what's up, man?
I ain't buying that disability bullshit.
You don't think it was because of that?
No. Are we saying that the parents had a disability and that's why the kids are missing?
No, they're saying the kids. She's saying the kids have disability and the parents don't know how to handle that, and it's too much on the parents. I think that's where she was going with it.
I think they were just normal kids. You know how kids are. You had one.
Yeah,
When they get
my
a
kid.
certain age, they go nuts.
I wouldn't say nuts, but they get
Not nuts, but they're into everything. You got to watch them all the time. I mean,
yeah.
You know, you probably had the same
What is
thing
it?
I did when I had
The terrible twos, the horrible fours.
Yes,
You know what I'm
yes,
saying?
yes.
That every
You
year,
know,
every other year or something. And then they get to teenagers, then they don't like you for a little bit, and then they love you again. You know, it's different
one of them got-
stages.
Yeah, you got teeth marks from one of them on your arm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny.
So I just think, you know, me myself, I thought maybe it'd have been a little bit too much on a young mother, and I can understand it being too much. That's why I'm saying people need help.
Well,
and when you need that help, you need to reach out for it because it can be stressful. And you don't even got to have 3 kids. It could be 1 kid. If it's hard on you,
one is enough.
Yeah, you know, reach out for
probably
help.
felt the same way I did when I first had my daughter. It was like my life, my selfish life around myself was over.
Yeah. And you got to learn
the end of
and when you don't have kids, you got to learn everything on the fly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're learning as you're dealing with everything.
So I told my daughter, I'm like, when are you going to give me a grandkid? She said, oh, we're not quite ready. I said, you're never going to be ready. You just got to do it.
Yeah, you'd never be ready. There ain't no ready
You'll get
point.
ready.
So how's your trip going, man?
We're chilling like villains.
Chilling like villains. Okay.
Mrs. Mab rented a little Mini Cooper.
Uh-huh.
And we drove down, you know, we drove to the other keys just to see what they were look like.
Cool.
It was awesome.
They're one of the little tiny ass cars.
That little Mini Cooper jams, man.
Does it? They're made by
It's
BMW. It's made by BMW Mini Cooper.
I roasted the tires on it a little bit.
Did you?
Front tires. Yeah.
Okay. Y'all be careful. You don't want to get in a car wreck in that little tiny ass box.
Well, we just rented it for one day. We're done with it now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Garage.
Y'all should have got y'all a slingshot while y'all were down there and rode that. You'd have more fun. It's a little more open, a little more air blowing in your face.
There you go.
So
nothing new on these two.
Nothing new. Police are pretty hushed. They're reformatting what their next steps are. Is what they're saying anyway. I would think
Confiscated electronics or anything?
they did in the beginning. They copied their phones. You know, they don't take it these days. They just copy it.
Right, they download.
Well, they used to take your phones, but now they download it and then give it back to you. So
What's your gut telling you on this one?
say it one more time.
I said, what is your gut telling you on this one?
There's foul play, or I wouldn't cover it. You know, I think everybody knows what I'm thinking, or I wouldn't even be talking about it. I don't talk about cases usually. I mean, I do sometimes when there's adults missing or something, but most of the time, I would say 85% of the time, if I'm talking about a children's case, it's either they just went missing, or I believe there's foul play.
In my mind, it's probably 85% accident cover-up.
How do you two kids?
abduction.
Yeah, it's hard to have two kids. I mean, just say one kid ate some drugs. What's the chances of both kids doing it?
Next to nothing. That's like winning the lottery 2 times in a row.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to think. You know, 2 kids is an accident. I can give you 1 kid as an accident, but 2 kids accident.
Yeah, no.
You know, unless they fell off of something, or you know, a cliff, or like, you know, they were in a swimming pool and both of them fell in, or something. But just the 2.
Well, they both got into something that was powerful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Because you know you can touch something, you know, some of that stuff, and you can die.
Die. Yeah, I've seen police officers arrest people with it and die. You know, or go into like cardiac arrest, or you know, and have to be rushed to the hospital just from touching it.
You gotta get the Narcan out real quick.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know why. I still to this day don't know why anybody would hurt their kids, man.
I don't either.
I don't know. It blows my mind that it's happening, and it's happening so much that it's like, damn, I'm glad my mom loved me. You know what I'm saying? The point I'm at, I'm like, I'm glad I was loved.
And I love kids, man. It was like, so when you hurt one, man, you better not do it around me. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
I don't care who you are.
There's been many times I'll bite my tongue, you know, especially like in stores and grocery stores when I see people. And one thing I hate to see is when women drag their kids around by their arm. It just makes my arm hurt. I'm like, no, that's probably why I got a bad shoulder. Maybe my mama was dragging me around. I can't remember, but this shoulder be killing me. I wonder if it's something my mom did when I was a baby. You know what I'm saying? Now I got to be thinking, because I be seeing people drag their kids around, and I hate that. Like, you know, I get it. You got to get moving and shit, but you know, I'll be seeing people snatch their kid by the arm. I hate that. It's one of the biggest things. Like, and I fight myself to say shit to people all the time that I see doing it. I'm like,
you know, if you do, you're getting into
an argument or altercation. Yeah. Yeah. Because people going to be like, don't tell me how to raise my kid and shit. You're like, oh my God. Like,
you talking about me?
Yeah. I guess everybody parents different, but there should be some standards of learning here. You know what I'm saying?
We were down by the pool yesterday, and Mrs. Mapp had a carton of those goldfish, you know, those little goldfish. Kids love. And one kid came running over, grabbed it.
Oh, the goldfish?
Jason, he's like, no. Big old handful. I gave him a big old handful, and he took them all.
Awesome.
Cute little kid.
Well, y'all be safe. How much longer y'all got on y'all's vacation?
I think we're leaving Saturday morning.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Awesome. I'm gonna have to go down there eventually. Me and PJ.
Nice, man.
That's where our next trip should be. You know.
And the food is out of this world, man.
Yeah, I think we've been doing a lot of like 50-50 vacations, a little bit vacation, a little bit work.
Yeah.
I want to take a
Yeah.
full vacation. No YouTube, no just
Full
unplug. Yeah, like just go straight somewhere that we're enjoying our time. Like even on this last trip, I had to tell PJ, let's turn the true crime off.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and then we still watch true crime. It's awful.
There
It's
is
still
a lot
awful.
to say about unplugging and just shutting off. And
Yeah,
shutting down.
cut the phones off, cut the social media.
Reconnect with reconnect with things that you might not notice are missing.
Yeah. I need a week of no internet, no social media, no phone calls, on a beach
I
somewhere.
recommend 10 days because it takes you about 3 just to get to the
Spot.
relaxing part.
Yeah, to the spot you're going. So I need, like, this last trip was good. It was a little vacation, a lot of work and traffic. And to me, I want to be somewhere like that. Like you're, sitting on the beach somewhere. I'm a real beachy person anyway. I want to relax. I want to be, poolside, some music playing, a nice little drink, and just chill and turn the world off, the internet part of the world off.
At 1:30 every day they have bingo at the pool.
There you go. I ain't quite that old yet. I ain't quite the bingo age yet.
Playing it too.
Don't put that on me, man. Let's say I'm at the Moose Lodge with a dauber.
You're going to the bingo, brother.
All right, you be good.
All right, brother.
All right, peace. And let me tell you something. I have played some bingo. I was dating this girl a long time ago, and her mama and her used to love to play some fucking bingo, right? And still to this day, I think I don't know. Maybe I put it on older people. I don't know. It seems like the bingo thing is when you get a little older, you're kind of in the bingo halls, kind of die. Them old women, hold on, callers. Talking. I'm on a Dolly rant about bingo. All right, you don't interrupt a good bingo rant. So, I'm thinking, okay, I go into this bingo hall and I look around, and I was young. This is when I was young. I haven't been a long, long time. I'm looking around and I see all these older people, and I'm thinking, I got good odds of winning because I'm thinking I'm faster than, these old women, right? Like, there's no way I can hit these numbers quick, right? Like, way faster than any of these old women. I'm going to win. I'm kind of confident that I'm going to win this money, right? So I got like one bingo card in front of me. And then, the lady across from me, she has like 175 bingo cards. Okay. Right. Like the whole fucking table's filled with them. Right. So they'd be like B7. And I'm over here looking for B7. And then the lady would be like, doop. And she done hit it on 170 cards. And mine, right? Before I could hit it one time, she done cleared the whole table and popping shit on my card. I was just like, oh no, these women are professional bingo players. Okay, this is like if you never played tennis and you playing against John McEnroe. Okay, like it's like no way in hell you winning, right? These ladies are like they're double handed behind their back and shit, bingoing. I had never seen nothing like it. Like, you don't stand a chance in hell of winning. Like, you just give it up now. Put your one bingo card down and walk away with grace, right? Walk away. So some of y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Some of y'all be like, oh, hell no, I do 375 cards. And I could not believe how competitive people are in bingo. I was looking around like, what the hell is going on here? Ninja daubers. Yeah, like boop, 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 boop. They got their favorite dauber. They got that shit bronzed and gold, and you know what I'm saying? Like they professionals. Like they do this every day of the week from 7 to 9, right? Like LOL, where is he from? Laugh my ass off. Water volleyball is my fave. But yeah, like I'm saying is a lot of people think that what we did was a vacation, but it was a lot of the Karen Reed stuff, a lot of going. And I need a real vacation. Just one vacation. And it don't include no bingo. It includes a damn daiquiri, a ocean view, and somebody that's playing some fucking Jimmy Buffett. I need something chill, relaxed, and calm, and completely unplugged to where I'm not doing live streams and not doing anything, and it's just Dolly time. You know what I'm saying? I can't keep up with 7 cards. I hope 2 kids are enjoying yourself. Booze, sand, and water. That I don't drink a lot. Okay, I'm not a big drinker, but definitely so. So, but something girly, and maybe a couple of them. I yelled bingo too early once. LOL. Really, the number is up there. The old ladies almost didn't give it to me. Didn't know the rules. Okay, you didn't know the rules. Yeah, they competitive, right? Last thing you want to do is get beat in the head with a walker. One thing you do not do is yell bingo if you're not even playing. Lots of old people will give you the stink eye. LOL. Some of them old women are dangerous. They're competitive, right? Like it is like a sport to some people. Like I didn't realize how that there was skill involved in bingo. Right? There's some fucking hand-eye coordination going on from hell there, right? All jokes aside, and some people win big money. I know a lady that won a bass boat, like a $30,000 bass boat playing bingo. That was one of the prizes, was a bass boat. So, yeah. These women have like 4 cards with 250 pots. Huh. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoy your time down there, Mab. For anybody here that has never been to the Keys, I'm going to tell you now. I know where Mab's at. The Keys are absolutely beautiful. If you go at the right time of the year where the weather's nice, it is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my life. And if I was absolutely rich, right, if I had money and wasn't broke as I am, gotta eat, okay, I would so live in the Keys. Now, I've always liked Virginia because of location. Okay, location. That's what I was telling PJ last night. Like, there's a lot of nice places, but location is probably one of the most important things. Jump off spot is what I call it. But if I had a big amount of money, I would definitely have me a house in the Keys that I would live in most of the year. And then, of course, I would come here to Virginia in the off season, right? But if I strike it big, okay, everybody donates $1 every day for the next year, I'm moving to the Keys. Okay. Because I do what, I don't know, a year, I do at least 1 million, over millions of views, right? If everybody gave $1, I'd be living in the Keys right now. So, but that ain't how the world works. I'm making pennies instead of dollars. So right now I'm stuck here. But one day, maybe one day I can get that little crib, a cabana in the Key West, or I'd probably move to Key Marathon. Key Marathon's my favorite key. So, but usually down there, it's only richer people, right? It's like where a lot of people go to retire. A lot of people have big amounts of money and they don't have to work and things like that. But it is the people are so awesome, beautiful views, the air's fresh, good environment. So if you ever get a chance to visit the Keys, we just got back from Marathon. See, go down and visit. I guarantee you'll have a blast. There's so much to do. The people are so friendly. It is just the chillest, I don't have to do shit vibe in the world. Like, people don't be looking at their watches. They don't give a damn about what time it is. What time is it? Who cares? It's 5 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock to them people always, right? What time is it? Party time. What are you doing, right? Why are you worried about it? The fishing is awesome. So, yeah, definitely check out the Keys. I'm going to get out here, guys. I will be back tonight. I got some search video stuff that I want to go over in the Jack and Lily case. The people out there actually in the woods searching. And we're probably going to go over that tonight. We will talk some other stuff. There's some Brian Kohlberger stuff I want to talk. So we may have more of an open show with a few different topics. Scattered is what I like to call it. Usually I try to stick to one topic at a time so I don't get too squirrel, all over the place like I did today. But I may mix it up again tonight. So it may be just true crime in general tonight with, Lilly, Jack, Sebastian. We may do everything. I may do across the board because I feel like some of these kids are being forgotten, right? And maybe it's time to remind people, why we're here in true crime, right? It ain't every video ain't about clicks and views. And I don't have a problem with people getting clicks and views, but every video don't have to be about that. All right. Remember this, if nobody else does, Dolly loves you. Peace.